Most riders don't realize this, but the way you're riding, washing, or even starting your bike could be quietly destroying it. Mechanics won't tell you, scammers hope you never find out, and riders keep repeating the same costly mistakes. In this video, we're exposing 70+ motorcycle mistakes, scams, and secrets that could ruin your engine, drain your wallet, or even get your bike stolen. If you've ever wondered why your motorcycle doesn't last as long as it should, or why riders keep falling for the same traps, this is the video you can't afford to miss. Stop killing your motorcycle engine. Number 1. Using plain water or wrong coolant. Neglecting your cooling system is another subtle way to kill an engine. Some riders top off their radiators with plain tap water when coolant is low, or never change their coolant at all. This is a big mistake. Tap water causes mineral buildup and internal scaling in the cooling passages, and it can promote corrosion and rust inside the engine over time. It also has a lower boiling point than proper coolant. All this means your bike could start running hotter and risk overheating more easily. Using incorrect coolant or mixing types can also reduce cooling efficiency or even gel up and clog passages. Low or ineffective coolant leads directly to overheating and engine failure if not addressed. The habit to avoid: don't ignore your coolant. Use the correct type and replace it as recommended. Liquid-cooled engines rely on that coolant to stay within safe temperatures. If you only ever add water, at least drain and refill with proper coolant ASAP. And if your bike is air-cooled, don't think you're off the hook. You must avoid overheating by managing your riding conditions. Number 2. Constant redlining and aggressive riding. Your bike might be fast, but treating the throttle like an on-off switch will dramatically shorten its engine life. Modern motorcycle engines are high-revving marvels, but constantly bouncing off the rev limiter or redlining every gear is abuse, plain and simple. Running at or near the RPM redline all the time causes severe wear on valves, valve springs, bearings, and the cam chain. The engine's moving parts are flung around at speeds and forces they cannot sustain indefinitely. In extreme cases, you risk valves floating. The valves move so fast they fail to fully close in time and can even collide with the pistons, resulting in bent valves or worse. Aggressive riding isn't just about RPMs either. Constant hard acceleration and red-hot braking means the engine is always under high stress and high heat. You're effectively using up the engine's finite fatigue life much faster. Does that mean you should never have fun? Of course not. But pick your moments. An occasional spirited ride is fine, but if every ride is a race, don't be surprised when your engine needs an early rebuild. Treat the redline as a zone for brief visits, not a place to live. Upshift a bit early during normal riding and give the engine some breathing room. By riding a little smoother and not pinning the throttle at every opportunity, you'll significantly extend the engine's lifespan and you'll still have all the power when you truly need it. Number 3. Overheating from extended idling. It might seem harmless to let your bike idle while you gear up or sit in traffic, but extended idling is an engine killer, especially on air-cooled motorcycles. When your bike is stationary, there's no air flowing across the engine or radiator to carry heat away. Many bikes, even modern liquid-cooled ones, heat up quickly if left idling too long. You risk the coolant temperature spiking or, on air-cooled models, the metal heating past safe limits. Frequent overheating literally cooks your engine oil and can cause metal parts to expand beyond tolerances, weakening gaskets and seals. Over time, repeated overheats can warp the cylinder head or cause a head gasket failure, a death sentence for your engine's health. Don't rely solely on the temp light. By the time it flashes, the engine is already too hot. The habit to adopt: avoid unnecessary idling. If you're stuck in standstill traffic on a scorching day, shut the bike off for a few minutes. When warming up, idle just long enough to get oil circulating, then ride off gently. Keep an eye on your temperature gauge or oil temp. Remember, heat is the enemy of any engine. By minimizing idle time, you prevent those severe overheating events that can fry your engine from the inside. Number 4. Riding the clutch. Constant clutch slipping might feel smooth, but it's another habit that shortens your engine's life. How so? Slipping the clutch causes the clutch plates to rub continuously, generating a lot of heat. While the clutch itself takes most of the abuse, that heat doesn't stay isolated. It raises your engine's temperature and can overheat your oil. Moreover, a slipping or dragging clutch means the engine has to work harder to deliver the same drive force, effectively overworking the engine for no good reason. You're wasting power as heat, and the engine is straining against that slipping connection. Over time, this can reduce overall performance and even transmit extra stress to the crankshaft due to sudden grip and slip cycles. The key habit here: use your clutch correctly. Don't half-clutch, excessively engage it fully when you need power, and disengage fully when you don't. In slow traffic, practice throttle control and steady speed rather than constantly feathering the clutch. Your clutch is a wear item, but preserving it will also preserve your engine's health. If you notice your clutch is out of adjustment or slipping under load, fix it. A well-adjusted clutch that you treat with respect ensures your engine isn't doing extra work or spinning needlessly in the friction zone. Number 5. Overloading the bike with excess weight. Your motorcycle isn't a pack mule. Overloading it with weight puts serious strain on the engine. Exceeding the manufacturer's weight limit means the engine must work much harder to move the mass, especially during acceleration or climbing hills. The result is higher operating temperatures and stress on components. More weight, more throttle for the same speed, which can lead to overheating and faster wear. Over time, an overloaded engine may suffer accelerated bearing wear, premature clutch burnout, or even piston stress as it constantly struggles under extra load. If your bike is rated for, say, 300 pounds total, don't regularly shove 350 pounds on it. You're asking for trouble. Even if it doesn't fail immediately, the added stress shortens the engine's lifespan. This habit often creeps up on touring riders or anyone carrying a passenger plus luggage. The fix: travel lighter or upgrade components if you must carry more weight. Pay attention to your bike's GVWR and stay within it. Remember, the less stress on the engine, the less likely it is to fail. Your motorcycle will thank you with many more miles if you lighten the load. Number 6. Neglecting oil changes. Engine oil is the lifeblood of your motorcycle. Riding with dirty or insufficient oil is a silent engine killer. Oil lubricates hundreds of moving parts, reducing friction and heat, but it breaks down and gets dirty over time, losing its protective qualities. If you skip oil changes or use the wrong type of oil, you're essentially letting your engine run with sandpaper in its veins. Old, contaminated oil can't lubricate or cool properly, leading to excessive friction, overheating, and wear on critical components. In extreme cases, oil neglect causes catastrophic failures. Think scored crankshaft bearings, snapped connecting rods, or even seized pistons from overheating. Don't assume oil is oil either. Using an incompatible oil can reduce lubrication or cause clutch slippage, damaging the engine over time. The fix is simple: change your oil on time and use the correct grade recommended by your manufacturer. Fresh oil keeps those moving parts gliding smoothly and prevents costly damage. Skipping this basic service is like playing Russian roulette with your engine's life. Sooner or later, you will lose. Number 7. Revving the engine. When cold. No one likes being jolted awake, and your motorcycle is no different. Revving a cold engine is a nasty habit that causes premature wear inside the motor. When an engine is cold, the oil has mostly settled in the sump and is thicker, meaning it hasn't fully circulated to all the parts that need lubrication. The metal parts themselves haven't expanded to their optimal operating tolerances yet. Gunning the throttle in this state is a recipe for damage. You're forcing dry, cold metal to grind at high speed. Riders who regularly blip the throttle or ride hard immediately after startup will find their engines developing more wear and tear. You might even start hearing extra rattles and ticks over time as parts wear out of spec. Always allow a brief warm-up period. You don't need to idle for 15 minutes, but give it a minute or two for oil to circulate. Ride gently until the engine reaches normal operating temperature. Warming up your bike properly lets the oil flow and coat everything, so you dramatically reduce wear. In short, be kind to your cold engine. It'll return the favor with a longer life. Number 8. Lugging the engine at low RPM. Many riders think keeping RPM low is always good, but Lugging the engine is actually a dangerous habit. When you lug the engine, you twist the throttle and the bike struggles to accelerate due to being in too high a gear. This scenario puts enormous stress on internal parts. The oil pressure is low at low RPM, yet the engine load is very high, which can break the protective oil film between moving parts. Imagine trying to pedal a bicycle uphill in top gear. You'd put brutal strain on your legs. In a motorcycle engine, that strain hits the crankshaft and connecting rod bearings hard. Lugging regularly can lead to bearing damage, rod knock, or even crankshaft failures in the long run. You might not notice damage immediately, but over time those stresses leave their mark. The fix: downshift sooner. Keep your revs in a healthy range where the engine can pull smoothly. Your bike's engine is designed to handle revs. It's lugging under load that's the silent killer, as it strains the engine and damages bearings. So don't be afraid to downshift and let the engine spin a bit more freely. It's much healthier than chugging along in 6th gear at 30 miles per hour. Number 9. Ignoring the air filter and clean fuel. Your engine needs clean air and fuel to survive. Neglect these, and you're grinding your engine's life away. The air filter is your motor's first line of defense against dust and debris. If you never clean or change your filter, it clogs or even tears, then dirty air flows straight into the engine, acting like an abrasive paste on the cylinders. Dirt will scuff up piston rings and cylinder walls, and it also contaminates your oil, turning it into sludge that can't protect the engine. Over time, an overloaded or damaged air filter can lead to loss of compression and power as the engine's internals wear out. Similarly, using low-quality or dirty fuel can wreak havoc. Cheap gas from an unknown station or old gas left sitting can contain impurities or water. Contaminated fuel clogs, fuel injectors or carb jets, and can lead to poor combustion. Even worse, if the fuel's octane is too low for your bike, it can cause knocking that damages pistons and valves. In short, filthy air and bad fuel are a slow poison. The solution: check and replace your air filter regularly. It's a quick job that saves your engine. And always use fresh, high-quality fuel from reputable stations. By feeding your motorcycle clean air and fuel, you'll keep its heart beating strong. Number 10. Ignoring maintenance and warning signs. Motorcycles usually warn you before they die. The trick is paying attention. Ignoring scheduled maintenance and the small warning signs of trouble is a habit that can quietly doom your engine. For instance, skipping valve clearance checks, spark plug replacements, or other routine services will allow wear to go uncorrected until something fails. Lack of maintenance causes small issues to grow big. A slight valve misadjustment, if ignored, can turn into a burnt valve. A loose timing chain can skip a tooth, and suddenly valves and pistons collide, catastrophic failure. Likewise, ignoring strange engine noises or vibrations is asking for trouble. That subtle ticking or knocking you dismiss as normal could be an early sign of a cam chain tensioner going bad or low oil pressure. Noises are early warnings of internal problems. Catch them in time, and you might save the engine. Even the drive chain matters here. Riding with a damaged or overly tight chain puts extra stress on the engine's output shaft and can damage the transmission bearings. The fix for all this: listen to your bike and stick to a maintenance schedule. Change fluids, check valve clearances, inspect your chain and sprockets, and don't ignore leaks or odd sounds. If something feels off, investigate it early rather than riding until it breaks. Preventative care is far cheaper than a new engine. In summary, treat your motorcycle to the maintenance it deserves. It's the key to making it last. If you see a coin on your motorcycle handle, run and call the police. Number 10. The keyless relay attack. Modern motorcycles with keyless fobs feel futuristic, but they also open the door to a new kind of theft. Instead of smashing locks or hot wiring, thieves now use small devices that capture and extend the signal from your fob. Here's how it plays out. You park your Harley or BMW outside for the night, with your fob resting on a table near the front door. A thief with a relay device passes by your house and picks up the weak wireless signal. That signal is then transmitted to their partner standing by your motorcycle. To the bike, it looks like the real key is right there. Within seconds, the dash lights up, the ignition unlocks, and the thief rides off without breaking a thing. There's no alarm, no visible damage, and no clue what happened until you step outside in the morning. The best defense is to block the signal. A Faraday pouch is inexpensive and effective, preventing the fob from communicating outside your home. Keeping the fob away from windows and doors adds another layer of safety. And if your bike has a PIN override option, enable it. Relay thefts are on the rise in suburbs where bikes sit unattended overnight, so don't wait until it's too late to protect your signal. Number 9. ECU and ignition hacking. If thieves can't trick your bike into believing the fob is present, they might go after its brain. Many motorcycles built in the last 20 years have electronic control units and immobilizers designed to recognize a chipped key. But with the right gear, crooks can bypass this security faster than you'd expect. Some carry portable programmers that plug into the diagnostic port hidden under your seat. Within minutes, they can pair a blank transponder key to your bike system. Others use cheap bypass modules that mimic the immobilizer, tricking the ECU into allowing the engine to start. Riders in the UK and US have reported cases where thieves stripped off a small panel, clipped into the wiring harness, and fired the bike up in under a minute. To fight back, think in layers. A hidden kill switch that cuts fuel or ignition is an old trick, but it works. You can also install a lock on the diagnostic port, making it much harder to connect a programmer. And never leave your bike in a quiet spot where a thief can work without interruption. They don't need long, and once the ECU has been compromised, your motorcycle is as good as gone. Number 8. Ride-off. Hot wiring. Old-school hot wiring may sound outdated, but it's still a serious problem for motorcycles. Bikes from the 1990s and early 2000s, in particular, often lack advanced immobilizers, making them prime targets. Thieves jam a screwdriver or slide hammer into the ignition, break the lock, and twist to start. Even modern bikes aren't immune. Small circuit boards sold online can bypass certain immobilizers, making it possible to hotwire in seconds. Imagine leaving your sport bike outside a coffee shop. While you're inside, a thief smashes the steering lock, strips a few wires, and before anyone realizes it isn't theirs, they're gone. Stories like this appear regularly on rider forums, and they all share one theme: the bike was left unprotected. To reduce your risk, always lock the forks or steering, use a disc lock with a built-in alarm, and consider a heavy chain. Hot wiring works best when the bike is easy to roll away and start. Adding even a few seconds of resistance can convince a thief to move on. Number 7. The van lift. Sometimes thieves don't even bother starting your bike. They simply lift it into a van and drive away. This method is common in cities and apartment complexes, where motorcycles sit unattended on the curb. A panel van pulls up late at night, the side door slides open, and 2 or 3 people lift your bike inside. In less than 30 seconds, it's out of sight. No alarms, no noise, no trace. By the time you realize it's gone, the bike is already being stripped for parts. Police reports from New York, Los Angeles, and Miami show van thefts are one of the most popular tactics among organized crews. Even London police warn about epidemic levels of this kind of theft. The solution is straightforward. Make your bike impossible to move. A heavy-duty chain anchored to a post or ground bolt makes lifting it nearly impossible. Adding a disc lock alarm ensures that any movement sets off a siren. Even a plane cover can help, since thieves often scout specific models. If your bike is visible and unsecured, it's furniture to them easy to grab and haul away. Number 6. VN cloning and title fraud. Not every scam involves stealing directly from you. Some thieves specialize in VIN cloning, taking a stolen bike, giving it the identity of a legal one, and selling it to unsuspecting buyers. They start by stealing a motorcycle, then find a similar make and model listed for sale. They copy down that VIN, forge documents, and slap fake VIN stickers on the stolen bike. Suddenly, it looks legitimate. The bike gets listed online at a tempting price, and a buyer who doesn't check carefully thinks they scored a deal. Weeks later, police seize the motorcycle, and the buyer is left with nothing. There are also cases where thieves rebuild wrecked frames using stolen parts, creating Frankenstein bikes that look legal but are anything but. The lesson is clear. Protect your own VIN. and check carefully when buying. Don't post your full VIN publicly in ads. Always compare the VIN on the frame, engine, and stickers, and run it through NICB's VIN check or Carfax. A mismatched or tampered VIN is a huge red flag. While this scam doesn't always take your bike directly, every stolen motorcycle fuels this market, and it's one more reason to lock yours down tight. Number 5. The test ride theft. Selling your motorcycle can be risky. One of the oldest tricks in the book is the test ride scam. A buyer shows up, polite and friendly, with a convincing story. They might hand you what looks like a valid driver's license or even leave car keys as collateral. You let them take your bike around the block, and they vanish. It's bold, but it works, and it has cost private sellers thousands. Even dealerships have been burned. A Seattle bike shop reported losing a $4,000 machine after a customer left a fake ID and never returned. The best defense is strict ground rules. Always verify identification, take a photo of it, and hold on to it during the ride. Require a cash deposit or certified funds equal to the value of the bike. If possible, ride along or follow in another vehicle. Meet only in public places with cameras, and never hand over the keys if something feels off. A genuine buyer will understand these precautions. A thief will try to talk their way around them. Number 4. Street jacking. Street jacking is the motorcycle version of carjacking, and it's as dangerous as it sounds. In this scam, thieves force you off your bike while you're riding or stopped. One method is the bump and run. You're waiting at a red light when a car or scooter taps you lightly from behind. Instinctively, you pull over to check for damage. That's when the thief strikes. While you're distracted, one jumps on your bike and rides away, leaving you with nothing but scraped leathers. In some cases, scooter gangs have been known to push riders off their motorcycles at stoplights, grab the bike, and disappear into traffic. This tactic has been documented overseas and in major U.S. cities. Protecting yourself here is about awareness and habits. If you're tapped from behind, shut off the bike, pocket the keys, and scan your surroundings before stepping off. If anything feels wrong, call the police and stay put. Practice the habit of kill switch, side stand, keys out. It only takes a second, and it prevents a thief from instantly riding away. Most importantly, remember that no motorcycle is worth your life. If weapons are involved, it's safer to walk away than to resist. Number 3. The fake Good Samaritan. One of the oldest tricks in the book, but still surprisingly effective, is the fake Good Samaritan scam. It usually starts with a stranger approaching you while you're stopped or parked, acting like they've spotted a problem. They might shout, "Hey, your tire looks flat," or "I think your bike is leaking fuel." In that moment, your guard drops and you instinctively bend down or step away to check what they're pointing out. But while you're distracted, their partner is already making a move, grabbing your tank bag, swiping your phone off the mount, or, if the key is still in, throwing a leg over your bike and riding off. It happens fast, and because your attention was elsewhere, you often don't realize what's happening until it's too late. Gas stations, grocery store lots, and quiet neighborhoods are common setups for this trick, and unfortunately, it tends to target riders who are alone, especially women and seniors. The best defense is simple but critical. Always pocket your keys before you check anything, and take a second to scan your surroundings before reacting. If someone is genuinely trying to help, they won't mind if you're cautious. Number 2. Spare key insider theft. Sometimes the person who steals your bike isn't a stranger on the street. It's someone you trusted with your keys. Shops, mechanics, even valet services have been caught making duplicates of motorcycle keys or programming extra fobs while the bike is in for service. It only takes a few minutes for an unscrupulous employee to copy the key code or cut a spare. With your registration info in their system, they now know your name and address too. A few weeks later, your motorcycle vanishes from your driveway. No broken locks, no alarms, nothing. Riders have reported losing expensive sport bikes this way, and police in several states have uncovered theft rings connected to shady repair shops. To avoid becoming a victim, always use reputable service centers with strong reviews. Remove personal documents from the bike before handing it over, and change any factory PIN codes on keyless systems after service. If possible, wait with your bike for minor jobs so the keys are never out of your sight. Number 1. The coin trick. This is the scam you came here for, and it might sound laughably simple, but it's real. Thieves place a coin on your seat, wedge it in your handlebar, or tuck it near the ignition area. The purpose isn't random, it's to mark your bike. If the coin is still there the next day, they know you haven't been riding and probably aren't paying close attention. That makes your motorcycle an easy target. In some cases, it's used as a distraction. You waste time prying the coin out while an accomplice approaches. In others, it's a signal to come back at night and lift the bike into a van. Riders have reported finding coins, zip ties, or small objects left on their motorcycles in parking garages and apartment complexes, always followed by suspicious activity nearby. If you ever see a coin on your bike, don't dismiss it. Remove it, check your surroundings immediately, and consider moving the motorcycle to a safer location. Alerting the police or security in the area is never overreacting, because this small sign often means someone has already targeted your machine. Never start your motorcycle like this, ever. Number 1. Starting in gear without pulling the clutch. One of the most dangerous and costly startup mistakes is hitting the starter while the bike is in gear without pulling in the clutch. Many riders, especially those in a rush, skip this step. The moment you do, the bike can leap forward violently. If you're in the garage, that lurch might slam you into a wall. In a parking lot, it could send you straight into another vehicle or a pedestrian. Even if you manage to hold the brake, that sharp jolt stresses your entire drivetrain. Mechanically, this is punishing. The starter motor is forced to crank against engaged gears, which grinds the transmission and applies unnecessary strain on the clutch plates. Over time, this translates into premature wear and expensive repairs. Experts emphasize that cranking in gear without the clutch can cause excessive wear and tear on the gears and other internal components. And don't forget the human factor. More than one rider has been thrown off balance because the bike unexpectedly lunged forward. The fix is simple but non-negotiable. Always shift into neutral and pull in the clutch before you press the starter. Make it a ritual, like fastening your helmet. This tiny habit eliminates one of the most overlooked startup hazards, saving both your motorcycle and your own safety. Number 2. Revving or twisting the throttle. While cranking. Many riders have the bad habit of twisting the throttle during startup, thinking it helps the engine catch faster. In reality, it's one of the most destructive things you can do. When a bike has been sitting, especially overnight, oil has drained back into the sump. That means the pistons, camshafts, and bearings are momentarily dry. If you open the throttle, the engine races before proper lubrication is established, causing metal-to-metal contact. This single bad habit can scar cylinder walls, accelerate wear on piston rings, and shorten the life of your valve train. Mechanics explain it bluntly. Revving immediately after cranking isn't good for the engine before proper oil delivery is established. On carbureted bikes, opening the throttle during startup also leans out the mixture, which makes the bike stumble, misfire, or even backfire through the carb. On fuel-injected motorcycles, sensors are calibrated for a closed throttle start, and forcing them out of that condition just confuses the ECU. The right move? Keep the throttle closed. Hit the starter, let the bike crank, and allow the idle to stabilize naturally. Once oil pressure builds and the engine is running smoothly, then and only then adjust throttle as needed. It feels slower, but in truth, it saves your engine from years of unnecessary abuse. Number 3. Forgetting the kill switch position. It sounds like an amateur move, but even experienced riders sometimes forget the kill switch position. You hit the starter, nothing happens, and panic sets in. In the rush, you crank and crank, draining the battery, overheating the starter, and stressing the ignition system, all because the switch is off. The kill switch is there for emergencies, but when used casually, it creates more confusion than safety. Many riders flip it off when parking and then forget to reset it before their next ride. The result? Embarrassing no starts, wasted cranking, and in some cases, a dead battery. Official safety manuals remind riders to make sure the engine cutout switch is in the on position before attempting to start. The fix is easy. Treat the kill switch as an emergency-only tool. Use your ignition key for routine shutdowns, and save the switch for times when you actually need to kill the engine quickly. Before pressing the starter, do a quick scan. Fuel on, kill switch to run, bike in neutral, clutch in. Building this checklist into your muscle memory prevents needless wear and embarrassing roadside troubleshooting. Number 4. Starting with the fuel. Tap off. Nothing drains confidence like cranking endlessly with the fuel tap closed. For bikes with manual petcocks, forgetting to turn the fuel tap on means no fuel reaches the carburetor. Riders often overlook this after maintenance or long-term storage. The result is endless cranking, frustration, and unnecessary strain on the battery and starter motor. But it gets worse. Once the tap is turned on after prolonged cranking, the sudden rush of fuel can flood the cylinders, pushing raw gasoline past the rings into the crankcase. That contaminates your oil and fouls spark plugs. Carburetor jets can gum up quickly, leading to rough idle or no-start situations even after you correct the mistake. Fuel-injected bikes face a similar issue when riders ignore the low fuel light and insist on cranking on fumes. Starving the fuel pump can overheat it, shortening its lifespan dramatically. The solution is simple but essential. Always check fuel flow before starting. On carbureted bikes, confirm the petcock is set to on or reserve. On EFI bikes, never ignore the fuel warning light and avoid running the pump dry. A 5-second check saves you from hours of wrenching and hundreds of dollars in repairs. Number 5. Cold starting without using the choke. Cold starts are one of the most stressful moments for an engine. Metal contracts, oil is thick, and combustion requires a richer mixture. Ignoring the choke on a carbureted motorcycle forces the engine to run lean during this critical moment. The result? Hard cranking, weak combustion, repeated stalling, and excessive strain on the starter motor and battery. Lean combustion. At cold idle doesn't just make the bike run rough, it causes hot spots that can burn valves and deposit carbon. Repeated dry starts wear down cylinder walls, piston rings, and valve seats. That's why safety manuals emphasize, if the engine is cold, move the choke to on. Riders often skip this step because it feels outdated, but it's crucial for carbureted bikes. On modern EFI motorcycles, the ECU automatically enriches the mixture, but the principle remains the same. A cold engine needs fuel enrichment. Use the choke when required, and your bike will thank you with smoother starts and longer life. Ignoring it may seem like a shortcut, but it's a shortcut straight to costly engine repairs. Number 6. Forgetting to turn the choke off. After startup. If forgetting the choke at startup is bad, leaving it on after the engine has warmed is even worse. A choke left engaged creates a fuel-rich mixture that drowns the cylinders. This leads to black smoke, fouled spark plugs, diluted engine oil, and rough idle. Gasoline washing down cylinder walls strips away the thin film of oil, leaving raw metal rubbing against raw metal, a recipe for rapid wear. Riders who let the choke run just a little longer often notice sputtering, fuel smells, and poor throttle response. Over time, this bad habit destroys spark plugs, clogs exhaust baffles, and contaminates oil. As one mechanic notes, overuse of the choke reduces the necessary air, causing flooding. The solution is discipline. Once the bike idles smoothly and has even a bit of heat in the cylinders, push the choke off. Don't wait until the bike is fully hot, just until it can hold idle without assistance. This small step prevents rich running conditions that erode performance and reliability. Number 7. Prolonged or repeated cranking. The final mistake is one almost every rider has made. Mashing the start button continuously when the bike doesn't fire right away. It's tempting to hold it down, hoping more cranking equals more chances for ignition. In reality, this habit is one of the fastest ways to kill your starter motor and drain your battery. Continuous cranking overheats the starter, weakens the electrical system, and floods the cylinders with excess fuel. Experts warn that prolonged cranking or overuse of the choke can cause flooding. The correct method is short bursts 3 to 5 seconds at a time, followed by a 10-second pause. This allows the starter to cool and unburnt fuel to evaporate. If the bike still won't start after a few attempts, brute force isn't the answer. At that point, it's time to check the basics. Is the bike in neutral? Is the kill switch on? Is there fuel? Forcing the starter only masks the problem and creates new ones. A healthy motorcycle should fire within a couple of bursts. Anything else signals another issue that needs attention, not more cranking. 9 mistakes that make you look like a bad rider.
Number 9. Riding in the center of the lane. Sitting or riding dead center in a lane may seem natural, but it's actually unsafe. The road's painted center line collects oil and slippery residue from other vehicles, reducing traction. Riding in the middle also blocks your view of traffic ahead. Worse, if you stop at a red light in the center of the lane, drivers behind may not expect it and can easily rear-end you. By contrast, experienced riders use a blocking position slightly to one side of the center. This gives better sight lines and discourages others from squeezing past. How to fix it? When riding, shift slightly left of center if cars park on the right or slightly right of center if not. This blocking position lets you see around vehicles and avoids painted oils. When stopped, position your bike to the left or right of the middle line so you're out of the most slippery path and more visible. Number 8. Wearing earbuds or headphones while riding. Listening to music through earbuds or headphones may feel fun, but it's a hidden hazard. Road safety experts strongly advise against covering your ears on a bike. Using earbuds blocks important sounds like car horns, sirens, engine noise, and even wind noise that warns you about speed, all of which alert you to danger. In fact, safety organizations explicitly recommend not using earbuds or headphones when riding. You might think you can multitask, but studies show that any auditory distraction can seriously impair your awareness. How to fix it? Use a motorcycle-appropriate audio solution instead. Install a Bluetooth helmet comm system or helmet-mounted speakers designed for riding at a safe volume. These allow you to hear ambient traffic and emergency sirens. Always leave at least one ear open. This greatly reduces your risk as unwanted distractions are removed, but critical sounds remain audible. Number 7. Accelerating too early through turns. Many riders open the throttle too aggressively before exiting a curve, which can lead to dangerous wide drifts. When you gun the throttle too soon in a turn, the bike's weight shifts and the rear tire tries to straighten out, pushing you toward the outside of the curve. For example, in a left-hand bend, this causes the bike to drift right. In a right-hand bend, it drifts left. This mistake is especially risky on loose or wet pavement, where even a small slip of the throttle can break traction. How to fix it? Approach each turn with a controlled speed. Brake and set your speed before leaning in so you don't need heavy braking or sudden power in the middle of the curve. Only ease on the throttle after you've passed the apex of the turn and see the road straightening out. This keeps the motorcycle more upright while accelerating, maintaining grip. In short, plan your speed ahead, then smoothly roll on the gas during and after the turn, not before. Number 6. Fixating on hazards instead of looking through the turn. It might sound obvious, but many riders stare at problems instead of looking where they want to go. This is called target fixation. Say there's a pothole or a branch on the road. If you lock your eyes on it, your bike will naturally drift toward that spot. In motorcycle training, you always hear, "Look where you want to go." A rider focusing on a 1-foot wide pole is far more likely to hit it than someone looking down the road. In fact, experts explain that this is why bikers crash. Nervous riders panic, fixate on a guardrail or object, and end up steering into it. How to fix it? Train yourself to scan ahead, not at immediate obstacles. Keep your gaze up and look well beyond the front wheel, toward your exit point in the turn or the next clear path. Imagine a series of dots on the road ahead and practice looking from one to the next. Remember the mantra, see everything, look at nothing. In a high-pressure moment, consciously force your eyes to glide past the hazard. Over time, this habit prevents you from unwittingly steering into what you don't want to hit. Number 5. Skimping on protective gear. Another mistake is thinking, I only need a helmet, and skipping the rest of the gear. This not only raises safety risks, it also signals recklessness. Protective jackets, pants, and gloves literally lower your injury risk. Research shows that riders wearing full gear have far fewer and less severe injuries and crashes. For example, one study found a 21% lower risk of hospitalization with a jacket, 51% lower with proper pants, and 59% lower with gloves. In other words, not wearing your gear isn't just unsafe, it's looking like a lazy rider who doesn't care about consequences. How to fix it? Gear up every time. Wear a jacket and pants made of abrasion-resistant material, along with gloves and sturdy boots. Even on short rides, the right gear protects you from the unexpected. As one riding expert puts it, the less we wear, the more we increase our risk. So invest in high-visibility armored gear. Besides safety, good gear can also have reflective panels or bright colors to make you stand out to drivers. Number 4, wearing all black or non-reflective clothing. Even if you wear armor, wearing dull or dark gear makes you blend into the road. Other drivers often fail to notice motorcycles until it's too late. Accident studies emphasize visibility. Wearing bright colors and reflective material dramatically increases how early drivers spot you. In fact, safety guides urge riders to use high-visibility gear, bright jackets, helmets, or vests, instead of only black leather. Failing to do this makes you practically invisible, which is both dangerous and marks you as an inexperienced rider. How to fix it? Add reflectors and bright colors to your outfit. Choose a fluorescent or white helmet and consider a neon vest or reflective tape on your jacket. Position any auxiliary lights on your bike for better presence. Even something as simple as a brightly colored shirt under your jacket or reflective stickers can make you stand out. Remember, being seen is half the battle on the road. Number 3, not scanning the road ahead. Relying only on your immediate view, like the bumper of the car ahead, is a mistake. A top riding instructor emphasizes that vision is the most critical skill on a bike, yet many riders look only a few feet in front or ignore intersecting traffic. The hardest moments are often intersections and curves where failing to look far ahead causes problems. If you don't constantly scan left, right, and far ahead, you'll miss brake lights, side traffic, or road debris until the last second. How to fix it? Make scanning a habit. Keep your eyes moving. Check mirrors and cross streets regularly, even in clear weather. Look well beyond the next vehicle so you can spot brake lights or hazards early. For example, when approaching an intersection, glance left and right to anticipate turning cars. Always ride at a pace where your sight distance exceeds your stopping distance. This improved scanning gives you extra time to react and shows you're alert exactly what a skilled rider does. Number 2, overlooking road hazards. Closely related to scanning is the failure to predict what others will do. Riders often make the mistake of trusting that other drivers will behave sensibly, but in reality, you must constantly anticipate danger. In motorcycle training, this is called making predictions with the information you see. For instance, if a parked car has its wheels turned out, anticipate it might pull out. If a car ahead drifts toward your lane, predict it might cross paths. Not analyzing these clues is a big error. How to fix it? Always have a plan B. Ask yourself what-if questions. What if that stopped car suddenly turns right? What if the cyclist up ahead swerves? By mentally rehearsing potential actions of others, you're less likely to be caught off guard. This means keeping an extra space cushion, covering your clutch and brakes near dense traffic, and slowing down a bit when uncertainty is high. In short, riding defensively and predicting hazards is key to looking like a prepared, good rider. Number 1, riding beyond your skill and comfort zone. The biggest mistake is thinking you're better than you are. Many riders overestimate their abilities, taking risks that exceed their skill level. This overconfidence shows up as late braking, high speed in corners, or aggressive maneuvers. Even experienced riders can fall into this trap on familiar roads. Over time, fatigue or lapses in concentration can turn those small risks into crashes. According to riding experts, the key is to know your risk offset, the difference between what you attempt and what you can safely handle. Failing to do so makes you look reckless. How to fix it? Be honest about your limits. Stick to speeds and maneuvers that you can handle confidently. Practice emergency braking and cornering in a safe area or advanced training course to build real skills. When you feel invincible, remind yourself, even veteran riders get into trouble by pushing too hard. Adopt a mindset of continuous learning and respect for the machine and road. By staying humble and riding within your skill range, you'll not only be safer, but also look like a competent, professional rider. Each of these mistakes may seem small or even acceptable at first, but they can accumulate to make you look like a bad rider, and more importantly, put you at risk. By adjusting your lane position, listening only to appropriate alerts, smoothing out throttle inputs, looking far ahead, wearing proper gear and high-vis clothing, and riding within your limits, you'll instantly appear and be a more skilled and conscientious rider.
9 motorcycle secrets only real riders know. Number 9. Turn your smartphone into a bike scanner. Your phone can be more than just Spotify and GPS on 2 wheels. It's a diagnostic powerhouse. With the right Bluetooth OBD2 dongle and app, You can instantly read engine codes, sensor data, and performance logs that your mechanic won't usually hand you on a platter. In fact, experts call these apps the new secret weapon in motorcycle maintenance, turning your phone into a real-time diagnostics tool. Plug in, and you'll spot issues like lean, rich fuel trims, overheating warnings, or misfires before they become breakdowns. Knowing what's happening under the hood in real time is a game changer for true riders. Number 8. Fine-tune your suspension sag. Most riders never touch their suspension settings, yet this one adjustment makes a massive difference. How much the bike sinks under your weight is a hidden tuning secret. A Penske Shocks engineer explains that for street riding, about 35 to 45 millimeters of rider sag is ideal. Too much sag, and your bike bottoms out under braking and dips through corners. Too little, and it never settles into its travel. Setting sag correctly, usually by adjusting the fork and shock preload, yields better handling, stability, and comfort. It's a simple secret. Tune the suspension for your body and gear, and the bike will reward you with smooth, confident turns. Number 7. Let the slipper clutch. Do the hard work. Modern bikes often hide a critical trick in their clutch assembly, the slipper clutch. Unlike a standard clutch, it actually helps on downshifts. When you're braking hard and zipping down through gears, a slipper clutch automatically slips if the rear wheel tries to slow the engine too fast. In other words, it prevents rear wheel hop or skidding during rapid downshifts. On the track, this saves you from losing the line. On the street, it means smoother decels and less jolt. Even if you don't rev match perfectly, the slipper clutch unwinds some of that engine braking for you, keeping the rear wheel from locking and giving you steadier control. Number 6. Engage rain mode and traction control. If your bike is blessed with electronic modes, use them wisely, especially in dicey conditions. Many riders only think of rain mode as a joke, but it's actually a hidden safety tool. Modern motorcycles often have traction control maps and rain settings that dial back throttle response and tweak ABS delivery. In a downpour or on gravel, flicking into rain mode or its equivalent can automatically limit torque and apply stability controls before you even realize you're slipping. In short, your bike has built-in wet weather assistance. Activating rain traction modes gives you extra grip and predictability on slick roads, a real secret weapon when the pavement is unforgiving. Number 5. Master emergency braking technique. When panic strikes, technique beats raw force. The pro way to emergency stop is to use both brakes together in a controlled squeeze, not just one or the other. One instructor advises riders to use both brakes, gently squeeze the front initially, don't snatch, then once the front of the bike sinks, you can squeeze as hard as you like. In practice, that means cover the front brake with 2 fingers, press firmly, and at the same time apply the rear brake. As the bike's weight shifts forward, you've maximized grip. After that point, you can still pull the front lever harder. Meanwhile, modulate the rear brake to keep it rolling. This coordinated braking uses physics to your favor, shortening your stopping distance. If your ABS kicks in too early, the technique is ease up a bit so both wheels stay on the edge of grip. Practiced co-application of front plus rear is the secret to shortest, safest stops. Number 4. Trail the rear brake in corners. Here's a counterintuitive stability trick. Use the rear brake while you're leaned over. Instead of grabbing the front brake mid-turn, slowly feather the rear brake if you need extra slowing. Seasoned riders swear by this. Mid-corner, use the rear brake, not the front, is far safer. Practice rear braking gently when banked. The rear brake tucks weight toward the back tire while leaned, tightening your turn radius without upsetting the chassis. It's not traditional MSF instruction, but on real roads, a slight rear brake pull keeps you controlled if you find the corner too fast. This hidden technique lets you scrub speed without pitching the bike or locking up the front tire. Number 3. Lean the bike faster. Most riders enter turns far too timidly. The secret is to initiate your lean quickly and decisively, don't crawl into the corner. An instructor notes, most riders lean slowly, causing them to run wide. Learn to lean the bike quicker. In practice, jab a bit harder on the inside grip to kick the bars, instantly leaning the bike. Faster lean means you don't have to bleed off as much speed mid-corner. and you do this with good push-pull steering technique. In short, the bike will follow your vision if you yank it with conviction. Hesitate or lean your body without using the bars, and you'll drift wide. A decisive countersteer and fast lean locks in the turn line. It's a technique you won't find in a beginner's guide. Get comfortable leaning hard and the corners open up under you. Number 2. Push-pull. Real countersteering. Riding isn't like turning a bicycle by pushing down on the bars. It's about push-pull forces. The proper countersteer motion involves one hand pushing and the other pulling in the turn direction. Experts stress steering should be applied with both hands, using the push and pull, not downwards. For example, to go left, push left handlebar forward and simultaneously pull back on the right. This action quickly yanks the bike into a lean. Novices often mistakenly lean by pushing down on a grip or just shifting body weight that's slow and imprecise. By using the correct push-pull technique, you send faster, stronger inputs through the bars. The result: lightning-quick responses and sharper turns. Remember, motorcycle steering is about torque on the bars, not leaning your weight or pushing down. Mastering this push-pull secret makes you feel like you're telling the bike where to go rather than hoping it follows. Number 1. Protect your hearing. This might not sound like a riding technique, but it's a secret difference between amateurs and pros. Use earplugs every time you ride. At 100 kilometers per hour, the wind noise under your helmet is roughly 94 decibels, loud enough to cause hearing damage in minutes. Beyond long-term hearing loss, constant wind noise wears you out. Alpine Hearing Protection points out that exposure to constant wind noise is also tiring, and that the right earplugs can prevent fatigue. In practice, using filtered rider plugs will cut the roar, keep you alert, and reduce mental fatigue on long rides. You'll still hear sirens and horns clearly, but the exhausting low rumble is gone. Skipping ear protection may feel trivial, but maintaining your hearing and energy is a pro rider's secret for sharp focus and longer, safer rides. 90% of riders are using the clutch wrong. Here's the right way. Number 1. Riding the clutch at stops. One of the most common but damaging habits is sitting at a red light with the clutch lever pulled in the whole time. Riders do this to stay ready, but what it really does is keep the clutch plates partially engaged. That constant pressure generates friction and heat inside the pack, even when you think the bike is just idling. Over time, those plates glaze, harden, and eventually burn. Mechanics describe it as turning the clutch to charcoal. The fix is simple. If you're stopped for more than a few seconds, slide the transmission into neutral and let the lever all the way out. This completely separates the plates, giving them a rest and eliminating unnecessary heat. A light hand on the lever is fine when preparing to move, but don't clamp it in continuously. Neutral is your friend here. Your clutch lifespan depends on it. Number 2. Excessive slipping on launch. When you launch off the line by dragging the clutch lever halfway while opening the throttle, you're cooking the clutch in seconds. Slipping too much at high RPM spins the plates against each other, creating enough heat to glaze or burn the friction material. Riders who do burnout-style takeoffs are literally sanding years off their clutch in one show-off move. Even professional racers admit that drag-style starts abuse the clutch far more than normal riding ever will. The right launch isn't complicated. Ease the lever out smoothly until you feel the friction point, then give the bike steady throttle as you release the lever completely. This transfers power gradually but firmly without cooking the plates. Everyday riding only requires a brief, minimal slip. Reserve heavy slipping for extreme low-speed control in a parking lot or on technical off-road terrain, not for every green light on Main Street. Number 3. Pulling the clutch under braking or in turns. Another overlooked mistake is grabbing the clutch lever when braking or mid-corner. Many riders do it out of habit, thinking it makes slowing smoother. In reality, it removes one of your most important stabilizers. Engine braking. When you pull the lever in, the engine disconnects from the rear wheel, leaving the bike freewheeling. This robs you of stability, especially under hard braking, because the mass of the engine is no longer helping to keep the chassis settled. The better technique is to keep the clutch out while braking and let the engine assist. Downshift smoothly as you slow, matching revs so the bike doesn't jerk. In corners, keep the clutch engaged unless you're actually shifting gears. This way, you maintain steady traction through the rear tire and keep the bike planted. Coasting with the clutch pulled may feel harmless, but it's one of the fastest ways to lose control in an emergency. If this video resonates with you, then do not forget to hype this video. This will help us to bring more content like this. Let us know in the comments if you have done it already. Number 4. Running out of spec clutch free play. Your clutch cable adjustment is one of the most ignored maintenance items, yet it makes a huge difference in how your bike runs. Too much slack means the lever has to travel excessively before the clutch engages. This causes missed shifts, gear grinding, and delayed response. Too little slack is even worse. The plates never fully separate, which means they're constantly rubbing, generating heat, and wearing prematurely. Technicians see this constantly. Some sport bikes come in with the lever adjusted so tight that the clutch fork is literally dragging on the plate even when at rest. That constant drag slowly cooks the clutch, leading to early failure. The fix is to follow your service manual. Most bikes call for about 2 to 5 millimeters of free play at the lever tip. You should be able to wiggle the lever slightly before it starts pulling the cable. That tiny bit of movement ensures the plates are fully free at idle, but still clamp hard when engaged. Number 5. Ignoring clutch drag from worn or damaged parts. Even with proper adjustment, internal wear can ruin clutch function. Friction plates warp or glaze, springs sag and lose tension, or the clutch basket itself develops grooves. Those notches prevent plates from sliding cleanly, causing them to hang up. The result is clutch drag. The bike creeps forward with the lever pulled in, or it stalls as you try to hold it at a stop. The only cure here is inspection. Pull the cover and check the pack. If springs are uneven or weak, replace them as a set. If friction plates are warped or shiny, swap them for new ones. If the basket has deep grooves, file them smooth or replace the entire basket. A rebuild kit with new frictions and steels isn't expensive compared to the damage caused by constant drag. When restored to spec, the clutch should disengage smoothly without creep or chatter. Number 6. Using the wrong oil or contaminated fluids. Your oil directly affects clutch performance. Wet clutches rely on the right level of friction, which motorcycle-specific oils rated JASOMA or MA2 are designed to provide. Car oils, on the other hand, often contain friction modifiers that make clutches slip or grab unpredictably. Riders sometimes blame synthetic oil for slip, but experts confirm it's really about using the wrong spec oil. Another killer is contamination. A leaking seal or careless fluid handling can let coolant or brake fluid enter the oil. Even a small amount destroys the friction material on the plates, leaving the clutch glazed and useless. The fix: always run the correct motorcycle oil, change it on time, and protect the system from contamination. If you suddenly notice unexplained clutch slip, check your oil type before tearing into the bike. Number 7. Overheating and glazing the clutch. All these mistakes lead to the same end result: heat. Heat is the clutch's worst enemy. Long periods of slipping, like inching forward in heavy traffic or crawling up a steep off-road climb, generate enough heat to char the plates and thin the oil. Once that happens, the clutch starts grabbing, slipping, and vibrating unpredictably. Eventually, the friction plates glaze over, turning hard and shiny, and they'll never grip properly again. Prevention is key. Don't hold the clutch half-engaged for long stretches. If you're crawling in stop-and-go traffic, put the bike in neutral rather than feathering endlessly. When tackling off-road terrain, use controlled bursts instead of dragging the lever constantly. Watch and smell for signs of overheating. If you sense a burning odor or feel the lever going soft, stop and let things cool. Once a clutch has been glazed, replacement is usually the only option. Each of these errors, riding the clutch at stops, slipping too much at launch, pulling in while braking, running with poor adjustment, ignoring worn parts, using the wrong oil, or overheating the pack, shortens the life of your clutch and makes your bike harder to ride smoothly. The right habits are simple. Use neutral at stops, launch cleanly with minimal slip, trust engine braking, keep the cable in spec, replace worn parts, stick with proper oil, and avoid excess heat. Do that, and your clutch will last years longer while giving you consistent, confident control. 11 motorcycle features that are banned today. Number 11. Ape hanger handlebars. Few images are as iconic as a chopper rolling down the highway with bars stretching so high the rider looks like they're hanging from a pull-up bar. These are known as ape hangers, and while they became symbols of rebellion in the 60s and 70s, they're heavily restricted today. In many states, it's illegal to ride with handlebars higher than your shoulders. Other states set exact measurements, usually somewhere between 15 and 30 inches above the seat. Lawmakers argue that excessively tall bars make it harder to steer, reduce circulation in the rider's arms, and cause fatigue on long rides. Riders argue they're part of biker culture. Still, the law is clear. If your grips sit above your shoulders, you're one traffic stop away from a ticket. Many riders with 16 or 18-inch bars assume they're fine, but technically, in several states, they're breaking the law every time they ride. Number 10. Turn signals you can't remove. Before the 1970s, motorcycles often didn't have turn signals at all. Riders used hand signals, which worked fine during the day, but were hard to see at night. In 1973, federal safety standards made turn signals mandatory on new motorcycles. That means if your bike was built after that year, you cannot legally remove or disable them. Yet plenty of customizers strip signals off bobbers and cafe racers for a cleaner look. Others tuck them in so far that they're practically invisible. On the street, both are violations. The rule is simple. If your bike left the factory with blinkers, they must work. Only bikes manufactured before the cutoff are exempt. For everyone else, deleting signals might make your bike look sleek, but it's not road legal. This surprises many riders because stripped-down builds are so common, but legally they're out of compliance unless grandfathered in. Number 9. Straight pipes and muffler cutouts. Ask any rider what makes motorcycles exciting, and sound will be high on the list. Straight pipes and cutout mufflers have been staples of custom builds for decades, offering raw noise and a sense of power. But they're flat-out illegal on U.S. roads. Every state requires motorcycles to have a working muffler, and federal emissions laws demand functioning catalytic converters. Michigan's vehicle code, for example, explicitly bans muffler cutouts or bypass devices. In practical terms, this means no open pipes, no removable baffles, and no quick flip cutouts that turn a quiet system into a roar at the press of a button. Regulators say the bans are about controlling noise and protecting the environment. Riders often argue loud pipes save lives, but lawmakers view them as a nuisance. In fact, Harley-Davidson itself was fined millions for selling tuner kits that let owners bypass emissions controls. Straight pipes might sound good to you, but to the law, they're public enemy number 1. Number 8. Oversized air horns. Safety-conscious riders sometimes install loud air horns, reasoning that a louder blast could save them from a distracted driver. But there's a limit. Vehicle codes in most states require that motorcycle horns be reasonable and forbid any that produce an excessively loud or harsh sound. In plain English, train horns and truck horns are off-limits. Sure, an air horn might shock a texting driver back into reality, but regulators argue that such devices go too far, turning a safety tool into a public disturbance. The rules may seem nitpicky, but they apply across the board. Motorcycles must have horns, but those horns must be designed for motorcycles. Anything that rattles windows or makes pedestrians jump will earn you a ticket. Number 7. Flashing or strobe LEDs. Lighting mods are among the most popular ways to customize a bike. Riders add underglow kits, blinking brake lights, or strobes to make their machines stand out. But in most states, flashing auxiliary lights are illegal. Michigan, for instance, bans flashing, oscillating, or blinking LEDs on motorcycles except for factory turn signals. Other states prohibit specific colors. Tennessee and Texas, for example, reserve flashing red, white, or blue lights for emergency vehicles. That means any strobe strips, alternating LEDs, or show-style light bars on your bike are violations if you use them on public roads. Riders are often shocked by this because decorative kits are sold everywhere, and they look amazing at night. But legally, they're for off-road or show use only. On the street, they can get you pulled over fast. Number 6. Red and blue police lights. Closely related to the strobe ban is the outright prohibition of red and blue lighting. Almost every state reserves front-facing red and blue lights for law enforcement and emergency vehicles. The logic is obvious. Drivers must be able to instantly recognize when a police car or ambulance is approaching. If a civilian motorcycle has red or blue LEDs up front, it can cause confusion or even impersonation charges. Rear-facing red, of course, is fine because it's a standard taillight color. But any red or blue shining forward is illegal. Many riders don't realize that even small accent strips count. A couple of blue pods on your front forks or red LEDs under the fairing may look harmless, but legally they put you in the category of impersonating law enforcement. That's not a ticket you want to fight in court. Number 5. Emissions defeat devices. This is one of the most overlooked bans because so many aftermarket parts are still available online. The Environmental Protection Agency prohibits any device that tampers with or bypasses a motorcycle's emission system. That includes catalytic converter delete kits, air injection block-offs, and ECU flash tools not certified for street use. Harley-Davidson learned this the hard way in 2016, paying millions after selling street tuner kits that let bikes run without emissions controls. The law views these as defeat devices, the same category as the infamous Volkswagen Dieselgate scandal. Riders often assume that if a product is sold, it must be legal. In reality, most of these parts are labeled for off-road or competition use only. Installing them on a street bike puts you out of compliance with federal law, even if you never face inspection. The crackdown on emissions tampering is only getting tougher, and ignoring it can cost you dearly. Number 4. License plate flippers and obscurers. Everyone has seen them in movies. Press a button and your license plate flips, hides, or disappears. On motorcycles, retractable plate holders and tinted covers are popular with stunt riders and show bikes. But on the street, they're completely illegal. States like Texas, Washington, Pennsylvania, and many others explicitly ban mechanical or electronic devices that obscure plates. Even without a gadget, covering your plate with tape or film, or swapping it with a fake, is against the law. The reasoning is clear. Traffic cameras, toll systems, and law enforcement need to see your registration. Anything that blocks or hides your plate is treated as an attempt to evade the law. Riders sometimes argue these mods are harmless fun, but police see them as tools for hit-and-run drivers or toll cheats. If you're caught with one on the road, expect hefty fines or even criminal charges. Number 3. No mirrors at all. This one sounds basic, but it catches a lot of custom builders off guard. Stripped-down bobbers and cafe racers often ditch mirrors entirely for a sleeker look. But in 22 states, at least one rear-view mirror is legally required on motorcycles. Some states demand 2, while others insist on 1 on the left side. Even where the law is vague, inspection stations can fail a bike with no mirrors, citing safety concerns. The purpose is obvious. Without mirrors, you can't see what's behind you, and lane changes become risky. Riders sometimes think mirrors are optional, but for many jurisdictions they're not. If you're rolling around with a clean bar setup and no rear view, you may look cool, but you're riding illegally. Number 2. Metal-tipped get-back whips. Hanging from the clutch or brake lever, braided whips, better known as get-back whips, have long been part of motorcycle culture. They trace their roots back to the biker clubs of the 1960s and 70s, often used to display club colors, add flair, or act as a practical piece of gear. In some cases, they served as makeshift tools, used to signal fellow riders or even deter aggressive drivers by dangling visibly in traffic. But here's the part many riders overlook. While plain leather whips are usually legal, adding any kind of metal to the end instantly changes their status. A whip with a weighted tip, steel studs, or beads is no longer seen as decoration. It's legally considered a weapon. In states like California, such a modified whip falls into the same category as a slingshot, a restricted weapon on par with brass knuckles. That makes simple possession a potential criminal offense. The problem is that a lot of riders think of whips purely as ornamentation, not realizing the law looks at intent and capability. Police officers and courts don't see a studded whip as harmless flair. They see it as a dangerous, concealed weapon that could cause serious injury. For that reason, Dealerships and accessory shops often warn customers. Keep your whips ornamental only. Stick to plain leather, no detachable tips, no weighted ends. Anything more could put you at risk of arrest, fines, or worse. What looks like a cool piece of biker heritage can very easily cross the line into an illegal weapon. Number 1. Seatbelts on motorcycles. If there's one ban that surprises almost everyone, it's this. Seatbelts on motorcycles are not only uncommon, they're prohibited. At first glance, it sounds backward. After all, seatbelts save lives in cars. Shouldn't they add safety on two wheels too? But research and decades of crash data tell a different story. Motorcycle safety experts concluded long ago that being strapped to a motorcycle is more dangerous than being thrown clear. In a collision, the bike itself often becomes a projectile, tumbling and twisting unpredictably. Being tied to it dramatically increases the chance of being crushed or dragged along the pavement. That's why federal safety standards explicitly prohibit manufacturers from equipping street-legal motorcycles with seatbelts. The same reasoning has been used to reject experimental ideas like partial roll cages or belt systems for riders. The underlying philosophy is that in a crash, separation from the machine gives riders their best chance at survival. While that may feel counterintuitive, studies consistently show it's safer. So while seatbelts save countless lives in cars, on motorcycles they're not only ineffective, they're actually banned. From towering ape hangers to sneaky plate flippers, from glowing blue strobes to hidden emissions deletes, the US has banned a wide range of motorcycle features. Some of these bans protect riders. Others protect the public from noise or pollution. And some exist simply to stop bad actors from abusing technology. But they all share one truth. Freedom on two wheels comes with limits. If you're building or modifying a bike, knowing these bans isn't just about staying legal, it's about staying safe. Ignore them, and the next stoplight might not just bring a red light, it could bring flashing ones in your mirror. 9 mechanic scams everyone is falling for. Number 9. The chain and sprocket. Emergency replacement. Chains and sprockets wear out, but not nearly as fast as some mechanics claim. A common scam is for a shop to tell you your chain is dangerously stretched, or your sprockets are shark-toothed, pushing you into a pricey replacement long before it's needed. Here's the reality. A well-maintained chain can last 15,000 to 25,000 miles, sometimes more, with regular cleaning and lubrication. Mechanics know most riders don't measure chain slack themselves, so they rely on fear. They'll tug the chain, make a face, and warn that it's a safety hazard. The scam works because no rider wants a chain to snap at highway speed. It's terrifying. But in many cases, the chain is perfectly safe. The fix? Learn the specification. Most manufacturers list acceptable slack in the owner's manual, usually between 20 to 30 millimeters. Carry a simple ruler or ask to see the measurement before you agree. If the mechanic can't demonstrate the stretch is beyond spec, decline the job. As for sprockets, light hooking on the teeth is normal. Replacement is only needed when the teeth look sharp or bent. By demanding proof, you shut down one of the easiest scams in the book. Number 8. The phantom valve adjustment. Few maintenance jobs are as dreaded and expensive as valve clearance adjustments. Depending on the bike, this can run $500 to $1,000 since it involves pulling tanks, fairings, and the valve cover. Some shady shops abuse this by billing for a valve inspection that never happened. They bank on the fact that riders can't see the work, and that most engines don't show symptoms until far later. Here's the trick. They'll tell you the valves were slightly out of spec, charge you for several hours of labor, and hand the bike back untouched. How can you know? Honest mechanics will give you a before and after clearance sheet with each valve measurement. If your shop can't show documentation or photos of the open engine, question it. Also, check the service interval in your manual. Many modern motorcycles don't need a valve inspection until 15,000 to 20,000 miles. If they're pushing it at 6,000, it may be a scare tactic. Always ask, "Can you show me the measurements?" If they dodge, take your business elsewhere. Number 7. Premium oil and filter, bait and switch. Oil changes are the bread and butter of motorcycle service. And here's where another scam hides. charging you for OEM filters and premium synthetic oil, then installing cheap generic parts instead. Some mechanics keep a stash of knockoff filters that cost a fraction of the price, but they'll bill you as if they used factory parts. Same goes for oil, they'll charge you for full synthetic when they pour in cheap bulk semi-synthetic. The danger? Cheap filters may lack proper bypass valves or use paper elements that collapse. Number 6. Brake pad and rotor padding. Brakes are safety critical, which makes them prime territory for manipulation. Many shops will claim your pads are dangerously thin when you still have thousands of miles left. Factory specs typically allow pads to wear down to 1 to 2 millimeters before replacement is required. Yet some mechanics will call it unsafe at 4 millimeters, doubling their sales by getting you to replace early. Rotors are another cash cow. A shady shop may suggest your rotors need skimming or replacing when they're perfectly serviceable. They'll point to a light groove and claim it's a hazard, when in fact minor scoring is normal. True rotor replacement is only needed when they're warped or worn below the minimum thickness stamped on the disc. Always ask, what's the pad measurement in millimeters? What's the rotor thickness compared to spec? If they won't provide numbers, they're padding the bill. A simple caliper tool lets you measure at home, and it's a $10 investment that can save hundreds in bogus brake jobs. Number 5. The suspension seal leak. Conjured fork seals are another favorite scam. A mechanic wipes a little oil or fork lube on your forks, then calls you over. See that wet line? Your seals are blown. You need a rebuild. In truth, many forks weep a trace of oil after heavy use, and it can often be cleaned with a $5 seal saver tool. A true blown seal will leave oil streaks all the way down the fork leg and noticeably affect damping. The scam works because suspension rebuilds cost $300 to $500, and most riders don't know the signs. Shops cash in by convincing you of a safety issue, when a wipe with a rag would have solved it. Protect yourself by checking fork seals yourself before service. If you don't see fresh oil pooling at the fork bottom, it's likely fine. Ask the shop to physically show you leaking oil. And remember, a bit of grime on the fork stanchion isn't proof of failure. It's often just dirt mixed with a film of lubricant. Number 4. Battery bait and switch. Motorcycle batteries are notoriously expensive, especially AGM and lithium-ion types. Some unscrupulous shops will charge you for a premium battery, then quietly install a cheap lead-acid version. They pocket the difference, and you're left with a battery that won't last more than a year or two. Since most riders never inspect their battery once it's in the box, the scam often goes unnoticed. Spotting it is simple. Check the label. AGM and lithium batteries are clearly marked, and they weigh far less than standard lead-acid types. If you paid for lithium and the unit feels like a brick, you've been duped. Always ask to see the battery before it's installed, and get a receipt with the brand and model listed. The lifespan difference alone is huge. A real lithium battery might go 7 years, while a cheap flooded cell dies in 2. Don't let them pocket $200 on a battery swap you never got. Number 3. Phantom diagnostic hours. Electrical gremlins are the bane of every rider. When a check engine light or starting issue appears, some shops pad the bill by claiming hours of diagnostic labor. In reality, many modern bikes only need a 5-minute plug-in with an OBD2 or factory scan tool to pull the fault code. Instead, shady mechanics charge 2 to 3 hours of wiring trace or circuit diagnostics when all they did was connect a laptop. The trick works because electrical work is mysterious to most riders. To fight it, ask, what code did you pull? Can I see the report? Honest mechanics will show you the readout in minutes. If the shop can't produce proof of codes or wiring diagrams, but still bills hundreds in diagnostic time, that's a scam. Buy your own $30 code reader for common bikes. It pays for itself the first time you avoid being billed $250 for a 5-minute scan. Number 2. OEM pricing for aftermarket parts. Another classic scam is charging factory OEM pricing while installing cheap aftermarket parts. For example, you're billed $200 for OEM brake lines, but what you got were $40 generic rubber lines. Or they charge for a $150 OEM air filter and throw in a $20 off-brand instead. Because most riders don't check the branding on installed parts, they never notice. The problem isn't just money, it's performance and safety. OEM parts are built to precise specs and tested for your bike. Knockoffs may not fit correctly, or they may degrade quickly. Imagine bargain gaskets failing mid-ride and dumping oil on your rear tire. Always ask to see packaging and part numbers. If you're paying OEM rates, confirm it's a genuine factory part. If the mechanic resists, that's a red flag. Transparency protects both your bike and your bank account. Number 1. Sabotage for repeat business. This is the darkest scam of all, and thankfully rare, but it happens. Some dishonest shops deliberately create problems so you'll come back. Stories circulate of mechanics leaving bolts loose, over-tightening chains until they snap prematurely, or even unplugging sensors so the check engine light returns. It's essentially sabotage disguised as bad luck. The motive is simple: repeat business. You'll blame the bike, not the mechanic, and hand them more money to fix the issue they caused. Protecting yourself means being observant after every service. Test ride the bike immediately. If a new problem appears that wasn't there before, question it. Inspect visible items like drain plugs, axle nuts, and chain tension yourself. A trustworthy shop will welcome scrutiny. A shady one will get defensive. If you suspect foul play, don't return and warn other riders. These scams work because mechanics hold the technical advantage. They know most riders don't have the tools or knowledge to check every job. But by learning the signs, asking for proof, and demanding transparency, you flip the script. Remember, your money and your safety are on the line. Every scam on this list has cost US riders thousands. How this oil change secret takes engine life from 10,000 to 70,000 miles. Number 1. Be smart about additives. Walk into an auto parts store, and you'll see shelves of oil additives promising miracles. Most of them aren't worth your money, and some can even harm a motorcycle clutch. That said, a few have proven benefits if used correctly. Molybdenum disulfide is one. It plates onto metal surfaces and reduces boundary friction, which can lower wear under extreme conditions. Some ceramic-based additives work in a similar way. High-mileage oils with seal conditioners can help older engines maintain compression and reduce leaks. If you choose to use an additive, make sure it's designed for motorcycles and wet clutches, and always follow dosage instructions. But remember, additives are just the cherry on top. The fundamentals: fresh, high-quality oil, solid filtration, proper intervals, do the heavy lifting. Number 2, choose the right oil for your bike and climate. The first step in extending engine life is simply using the correct oil. Too many riders grab whatever's cheapest or whatever car oil they see on sale. Motorcycle engines are different. They run hotter, rev higher, and share oil with the gearbox and clutch. That means the oil has to lubricate, cool, and protect multiple systems at once. Mineral oils are fine in theory, but they break down quickly in these conditions and need to be replaced often. Synthetic oil, on the other hand, is engineered with stable, uniform molecules that don't shear down as easily. It resists high heat, maintains viscosity at extreme RPMs, and holds up longer under load. For most modern motorcycles, especially in hotter climates or under heavy use, synthetic is the smarter choice. Semi-synthetics can be a good middle ground for older bikes with sensitive seals, but whatever you choose, make sure it's motorcycle rated. Using the wrong oil, like an automotive blend with friction modifiers, can cause your clutch to slip and wear out prematurely. Spend a little extra for the right oil, and you'll buy years of extra life for your engine. Number 3. Don't trust a single interval. Most riders blindly follow the mileage listed in the manual, assuming it applies to them. The truth is, those intervals are based on ideal conditions, and very few of us actually ride that way. If your rides are short, in city traffic, or in extreme weather, you're punishing your oil far more than the manual assumes. Cold starts and stop-and-go traffic create moisture and fuel dilution in the oil, which forms acids and sludge. Track days, high RPM runs, or heavy touring put enormous stress on the oil, breaking down its protective additives much faster. And off-road riding? Dust sneaks past the air filter, contaminating oil quicker than you think. All of these conditions mean you should shorten your oil change intervals sometimes by half. A rider who changes oil at 1,500 miles in harsh use will see far less wear than someone stretching synthetic oil to 8,000 miles in those same conditions. In short, let your usage, not just the manual, dictate your oil schedule. Most riders overpay or miss hidden issues when buying a motorcycle. Our Pro Edition Survival Blueprint shows you how to inspect like a mechanic, avoid costly breakdowns, and negotiate so you never pay more than market value. Link is in the pinned comment. Number 4. Oil ages. Even when the bike sits. Many riders assume that if they don't rack up mileage, their oil is still good. That's not the case. Oil ages with time, even if the bike is parked. It absorbs moisture from the air, slowly oxidizes, and becomes acidic. That acidic oil then sits on bearings, rings, and cams during storage, quietly corroding them. The fix is simple. Change your oil before winter storage so the bike sits with clean, protective oil, and then change it again when you pull it back out in the spring. Even if you ride very few miles per year, it's smart to change oil at least once or twice annually. Oil is cheap insurance against corrosion, and replacing it regularly will keep your engine internals clean and free from pitting. Number 5. Replace the oil filter. Every single time. An oil change without a new filter is like taking a shower and putting on dirty clothes. Many manuals even suggest changing the filter every other oil change, but this is penny-wise, pound-foolish. Filters clog with soot, dirt, and microscopic metal particles. Once they're clogged, they either restrict flow or open the bypass valve, sending dirty oil back through the engine. That defeats the whole point of changing the oil in the first place. A new quality filter every time ensures your fresh oil stays clean as long as possible. Don't cheap out here. Low-quality filters can collapse or bypass too easily. Stick to OEM filters or proven aftermarket brands. It's a tiny expense that makes a huge difference over tens of thousands of miles. Number 6. Install a magnetic drain plug. Here's a trick most riders don't know. Your standard filter can't catch ultrafine steel particles from gears and cams. Those tiny bits keep circulating in the oil and act like sandpaper on your engine. A simple magnetic drain plug solves this by attracting and holding those ferrous particles every time you ride. When you change oil, you just wipe away the gray fuzz that's collected on the magnet. Over time, this dramatically reduces micro-abrasion inside the engine. For less than $25, you're pulling out debris your filter can't touch. Many riders are shocked the first time they see how much metal a magnet collects, even from a healthy engine. It's one of the cheapest, smartest upgrades you can make. Number 7. Keep your oil and engine cool. Heat is the silent killer of engine oil. High temperatures thin the oil, burn off additives, and create varnish inside the motor. Air-cooled bikes sitting in traffic or blasting down hot highways are especially vulnerable. Even liquid-cooled bikes suffer if the cooling system isn't maintained. One of the best ways to extend oil and engine life is to control oil temperature. For air-cooled engines, an aftermarket oil cooler can make a dramatic difference, dropping bulk oil temps by 15 to 25 degrees. That small drop keeps the oil stable, reduces consumption, and prevents sludge. Even without an add-on cooler, riders can help by keeping radiators clean, replacing coolant on schedule, and shutting down an air-cooled engine instead of idling endlessly in summer traffic. Choosing the correct viscosity oil for your climate is another big one. Don't run a thin oil in extreme heat if your manual allows a heavier grade. The cooler and more stable your oil, the longer your engine lasts. Number 8. Warm up the right way. Many riders let their bikes idle for minutes before riding, thinking they're being gentle. In reality, that idling dumps raw fuel and moisture into the oil, while the gearbox and other internals stay cold. It does more harm than good. The better way is short and simple. Start the bike, give it 30 to 60 seconds for oil pressure to stabilize, then ride off gently. Keep the revs and load light until the coolant is warm and the oil has had a few minutes to come up to temperature. This way, the whole engine, not just the top end, warms evenly, condensation burns off, and wear is minimized. Those first few minutes of operation are when most engine wear occurs, so treating them carefully will add years of life. Number 9. Switch oil. Types correctly. Switching from mineral to synthetic, or from one grade to another, doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be done thoughtfully. On a brand new bike, run the break-in oil or a conventional oil until the rings seat properly, then switch to your long-term choice. On an older bike, switching to synthetic can sometimes reveal minor leaks, since synthetic flows more easily through tired seals. That doesn't mean synthetic caused the leak, it just exposed it. Be ready to refresh old gaskets or use a semi-synthetic if leaks are an issue. What you should avoid are harsh flush products designed for cars. Wet clutches and motorcycle bearings don't need solvent baths. If your engine is dirty inside, the safe way is a couple of short oil change intervals with a good detergent oil. Over time, that will clean it out gently without risk. Number 10. Consider used oil analysis. For riders who really want to know what's happening inside their engine, oil analysis is like a blood test. You send a sample of your drained oil to a lab, and they measure viscosity, additives, fuel dilution, coolant contamination, and even microscopic wear metals. The results can tell you if your intervals are too long, if a specific component is wearing abnormally, or if your engine is running hot. Commercial fleets use oil analysis to stretch engine life, and riders can benefit from it too. Doing one every year or two removes guesswork. Instead of hoping you're changing oil often enough, you'll know for sure. It's inexpensive, and it provides peace of mind. And sometimes, it catches a problem before it becomes a disaster. 10 washing mistakes that destroy your bike and no one warns you. Mistake number 1, washing a hot bike. Right after a ride, imagine rolling into your garage after a hard ride and hosing the bike down immediately. Cold water on a hot engine or exhaust can spell disaster. The sudden temperature shock can weaken metal and even lead to cracks in engine components. Hot brake rotors are vulnerable to splash them with cold water, and they can warp from the rapid cooling. No one tells you this, but you should always let your motorcycle cool down before washing. It's not just about avoiding burns to yourself, it's about preventing costly harm to your bike's engine and brake system. Give it at least 20 to 30 minutes, or until it's cool to the touch, before any wash. Number 2. Washing in direct sunlight. A sunny day might seem perfect for washing, but direct sun is your enemy during a bike wash. Why? The heat causes water and soap to dry extremely fast, leaving ugly water spots, streaks, and soapy residue baked onto your paint. Those spots can even etch into the clear coat and become a pain to remove later. Most riders don't realize how much damage a sunny wash can do that can dull your finish over time. The fix is simple. Always wash your bike in the shade or during cooler parts of the day. If you have no choice but to wash outside, do it panel by panel, rinsing frequently to keep the surface cool and prevent soap from drying. This way, you'll avoid those stubborn spots and keep your bike's paint gleaming. Number 3. Using harsh detergents or dish soap. Grabbing the kitchen dish soap or a generic household cleaner to wash your motorcycle is a big mistake that many riders make. Sure, it'll cut through grease, but it's way too harsh for your bike's delicate finishes. Household cleaners and dish soaps can strip away protective wax and clear coat, damage your paint, and even degrade plastic or rubber parts. Over time, this leads to faded paint, chalky plastics, and faster corrosion on metal surfaces. It's a hidden danger because the damage isn't obvious overnight. Your cleaner might actually be corroding your bike gradually. Stick to automotive or motorcycle-specific shampoos that are pH balanced and formulated for bike surfaces. These will remove dirt and grime without eating into your paint or seals. Remember, if it's not safe for a car's paint, it's not safe for your bike. Most riders overpay or miss hidden issues when buying a motorcycle. Our Pro Edition Survival Blueprint shows you how to inspect like a mechanic, avoid costly breakdowns, and negotiate so you never pay more than market value. Link is in the pinned comment. Number 4. Blasting with a pressure washer at full power. High-pressure washers make cleaning easy, but using them incorrectly can do more harm than good. A powerful jet can force water into all the wrong places. Wheel bearings, engine seals, electrical connectors causing rust and electrical issues down the line. It might even peel off decals or paint if you're too close. One especially nasty mistake is spraying the chain or wheel hubs. Directly pressurized water can drive grit and moisture past O-rings and into the chain links and bearings, where it gets trapped and causes rapid wear. To avoid unseen mechanical carnage, be very careful with pressure. If you must use a pressure washer, use a wide spray at low pressure. Keep the nozzle at least a foot away, and never spray directly into pivots or seals. Often, a regular garden hose is safest. You'll still get a clean bike without forcing water into places it shouldn't be. Number 5. Not protecting sensitive parts. When you wash without covering up key openings, you risk turning your bike into a water trap. Water can seep into the exhaust pipe, and if enough gets in, it can lead to internal corrosion or engine issues later on. Similarly, spraying directly into the air intake or exposed air filter can soak it or even let water into the engine, not good for combustion. Your bike's electronics are usually water-resistant, but they're not invincible. Dousing them could cause electrical shorts or corrosion in connectors over time. The solution: before washing, cover your exhaust use an exhaust plug or even a plastic bag secured with a rubber band to keep water out. Avoid spraying directly into the intake. If you have a cone filter or open intake, cover it up as well. Be mindful around the ignition, fuse box, and any exposed wiring. A little prep prevents a lot of hidden damage. Number 6. Using one bucket. Reusing dirty wash water. Are you using a single bucket for your whole wash? If so, you're basically giving your bike a mud bath without realizing it. The problem is that all the dirt you wipe off ends up in that one bucket. Each time you dip your sponge back in, you're loading it with grime and sand and then rubbing that back onto your paint, guaranteeing tiny scratches all over the finish. You won't notice the damage immediately, but under sunlight your paint will develop swirl marks and a dull look. Most riders never learn about the 2-bucket method until it's too late. So here's the fix. Use 2 buckets. One with your soapy water and one with clean water for rinsing your sponge or mitt. Every time you lift dirt off the bike, rinse the sponge in the clean water bucket before loading fresh suds. This way, the grit stays in the rinse bucket off your bike. Your bike's glossy coat will stay much more scratch-free. Number 7. Using the wrong tools or scrubbing aggressively. Old t-shirts, dirty rags, cheap brushes. Using these can quietly ruin your bike's appearance. A crusty old sponge or a brush with hard bristles can create a web of fine scratches in your clear coat, turning shine into haze. And if that rag has even a tiny bit of grit on it, you're basically sandpapering your paint. Likewise, attacking stubborn dirt or bug splatter with excessive elbow grease is a recipe for damage. Scrubbing too aggressively, especially on painted or plastic parts, can grind grit in and leave permanent marks. Always use proper, gentle tools. Soft microfiber wash mitts and cloths. Soft bristle brushes for crevices, and bug remover sprays for baked-on insects. Let the cleaning products do the heavy lifting spray and soak tough grime to loosen it before you lightly wipe. So handle your bike's finish like you'd handle a fine car, with care and quality materials. Number 8. Not rinsing thoroughly. Rinsing off the soap might seem obvious, but half-hearted rinsing is a hidden threat. If you leave behind suds or loosened dirt in the nooks and crannies of your bike, you're asking for trouble. Dried soap residue can dull or even etch your clear coat, and leftover grime trapped in corners will hold moisture against metal, accelerating hidden rust. Areas under the seat, inside fairings, and beneath the fenders often get neglected. Many riders just hose the bike quickly and call it a day, not realizing that a few hidden droplets can start corroding a connector or bolt. Take an extra few minutes to thoroughly rinse every part of the bike. Use a gentle spray to flush out wheel hubs, brake calipers, radiator fins, and other tight spots where gunk hides. Remember, any water or soap you leave trapped is a problem in the skipping the drying process. If you typically let your bike air dry after a wash, beware, improper drying can cause both cosmetic and mechanical issues. When water evaporates naturally, it leaves mineral deposits and water spots on your paint and chrome, undoing a lot of your hard work. Even worse, water that seeps into screws, joints, and electrical bits can linger and start causing corrosion. Using the wrong drying method can also scratch your bike. For example, An old bath towel or t-shirt can grind leftover grit into the clear coat, leaving swirl marks. The safe approach. Use clean, soft microfiber towels to gently blot and wipe water off all surfaces. Microfiber won't scratch and it absorbs well. Get into the habit of drying your bike from top to bottom, wringing out or switching clothes as needed. For tricky crevices, use compressed air or a blower to blast out any trapped water. This extra effort prevents those chalky water stains and rust forming on bolts or connectors. Number 10. Forgetting to lubricate and protect after washing. After all that washing, you might be ready to park the bike and relax. But skipping post-wash TLC is a major mistake that can shorten your bike's lifespan. Water and soap not only remove dirt, they also strip away oils and lubricants that critical parts need. Your drive chain is especially vulnerable if left dry after washing. It can quickly rust and eat away at your sprockets, killing performance. Other moving parts can lose their lubrication, causing squeaks or accelerated wear. Even bare metal parts like brake discs can flash rust if left wet. The fix. Once your bike is clean and dry, spend a few minutes on post-wash care. Re-lubricate the chain fully and oil any pivots that got washed clean. Spray a water-displacing protectant on metal surfaces and electrical connectors to chase out moisture. And don't forget to wax or apply a protectant to painted and chrome areas. A protected finish repels water and prevents corrosion next time. Washing your motorcycle is supposed to preserve it, not destroy it. By avoiding these mistakes, you'll ensure each cleaning session helps your bike instead of hurting it. Remember, it's all about attention to detail, cooling it down, using proper products and tools, covering sensitive parts, rinsing and drying thoroughly, and re-lubricate moving parts. Do it right, and your bike will reward you with lasting good looks and reliable performance. Ride safe and keep it shiny. How motorcycles really get stolen, and how to stop it. Number 1. Relay attacks. Keyless ignition was sold as a premium convenience, but it opened the door to one of the fastest-growing theft methods, the relay attack. Here's how it works. Two thieves team up. One waits by your motorcycle with a device that can mimic a fob. The other prowls near your home or workplace with a signal booster. These boosters can be bought online for under £100 or $120, often disguised as diagnostic tools. They capture the faint signal from your fob inside your house or pocket, amplify it, and send it back to the partner by your bike. To the motorcycle, the fob looks present. The bike unlocks. It starts. It's gone all without the real key moving an inch. This isn't rare. In London, relay theft now accounts for a significant percentage of stolen motorcycles, especially premium keyless models like BMW GS, Yamaha R1, and Ducati Multistradas. In the US, cities like Los Angeles and Chicago are reporting surges in relay-related cases. The shocking part? Most riders don't even realize their fob signal can travel through walls. Anti-theft. Store your fob in a Faraday pouch or a metal container that blocks signals. Keep spares far from doors and windows. At night, add a physical barrier like a chain through the frame or a grip lock on the front brake. That way, even if thieves spoof your key, they can't roll the bike without making noise or drawing attention. Number 2. Key cloning and ECU. Think your traditional key or immobilizer system is safe. Not anymore. Thieves have gone digital. Modern bikes use electronic keys and immobilizers linked to the ECU. Criminals now carry small handheld programmers that can plug into your motorcycle's OBD port or hidden connectors under the seat. In less than 60 seconds, they can clone your key code onto a blank fob or bypass the immobilizer completely. Some crews take it further. They bring their own ECU or ignition module, often pre-programmed to ignore immobilizers. They pop your seat, swap your ECU, and the bike thinks it's supposed to accept their key. Suddenly, your expensive security system is worthless. These hacking tools, which can clone or reprogram keys, are sold openly online, often advertised as mechanic tools or diagnostic testers. Real cases show thieves boosting even high-end models straight out of garages. Owners wake up to find the lock intact, the garage unopened, but the bike gone electronically. Anti-theft. First, protect your OBD port with a tamper-proof cover or relocate access points. Add a hidden kill switch that cuts fuel or ignition unless flipped. This forces a thief to waste precious time even if they hack the ECU. And always pair electronic defense with a hardened chain lock anchored to something immovable. Electronics can be bypassed. Steel and time cannot. Number 3. Van snatch and grab. Not all thieves waste time hacking. Many just pick your bike up and drive away. It's called the van snatch and grab, and it's terrifyingly fast. In one London CCTV clip, 3 men backed a minivan into a driveway at lunchtime, lifted a 500-pound BMW GS, and were gone in under 30 seconds. No engine started, no alarm tripped, just silence then disappearance. Why do thieves love this? Because immobilizers, alarms, and locks don't matter if the entire bike becomes cargo. In the UK, police report that scooters and mopeds are the most common targets, thanks to their lighter weight, but full-size sport bikes and cruisers also get lifted if unanchored. In the US, dirt bikes are especially at risk. They're light, valuable, and easy to resell without paperwork. Anti-theft. The best defense is anchoring. Use a hardened 16mm plus chain through the frame or swing arm and lock it to a ground anchor or metal post. Keep the chain tight and high. Slack chains are easier to attack with jacks or cutters. Add a cover to reduce visibility and curiosity. To a thief with a van, a covered and chained bike looks like wasted effort compared to one sitting free and exposed. If these tactics already have you rethinking your security, check out our secret motorcycle playbook. It shows how to inspect a bike like a mechanic, avoid hidden failures, and protect your ride with proven steps that 90% of riders miss. It's the survival guide every rider needs. Link is in the pinned comment. Number 4. Brute force attacks. The oldest method is still alive. Brute force. Battery-powered angle grinders are the thief's weapon of choice. Small enough to fit in a backpack, powerful enough to slice through a hardened steel chain in under 20 seconds. Even those expensive anti-theft disc locks? Gone in 30. Steering locks? A single kick or twist of the bar can snap them instantly. Thieves also use bolt cutters for thinner locks, or a hydraulic bottle jack wedged inside U-locks to pop them apart. Spray-freeze refrigerants make metal brittle enough to smash with a hammer. And here's the scariest part. In many urban areas, the sound of grinding metal doesn't raise alarms. People assume it's construction or maintenance. Thieves exploit this indifference, sparks flying, bikes gone. Anti-theft. No lock is invincible, but layering works. Use multiple devices, a heavy chain, a grip lock, and a motion sensor disc lock that screams at 120 decibels when touched. Place chains off the ground so cutters can't get leverage. The point isn't to be unbreakable, it's to waste the thief's time and make noise. In theft, time equals risk. The longer it takes, the more likely they give up. Number 5. Social engineering and scams. Sometimes thieves don't bring tools, they just trick you. A classic scam. Posing as a buyer. You list your bike for sale and they show up with a van, cash in hand, even fake ID. They ask for a test ride. The moment they take the bike, they never return. Riders across the UK and US fall for this every year. Other cons involve distraction. One thief chats you up at a cafe or gas station while their partner quietly wheels your bike away. And then there's the modern version, oversharing online. Post a picture of your new Ducati with the license plate visible and location tagged. A thief now knows your exact address and what model to hunt. Even posting out riding all day tells criminals your garage is empty until night. Anti-theft. When selling, never allow test rides without full cash collateral. Meet in police station parking lots or highly visible spots. Online, blur your plates and avoid posting locations or routines. Treat strangers with caution, and treat social media as if thieves are always watching. Because they are. Number 6. Garage break-ins. The last, and often most underestimated method is the garage break-in. Riders assume a closed garage equals safety. But thieves know garages hide valuable machines. Standard up and over doors can be forced with a simple tool in seconds. Sheds are even weaker. Once inside, if your bike isn't anchored, it's gone. In the UK, police report crews sweeping suburbs, targeting garages in a single night. In the US, suburban driveways and sheds are just as vulnerable, especially when riders leave bikes unlocked behind flimsy doors. Many thieves follow riders home after spotting a nice machine on the road, then return later when it's dark. Anti-theft. Fortify your garage. Add secondary locks, door braces, or even a bar across the inside. Block or tint windows so thieves can't peek in. Inside, anchor your bike to the ground with a heavy chain. Even if they break the door, they'll face another obstacle. Cover your bike too, even indoors. Out of sight is out of mind. And never store spare keys, titles, or documents in the garage. If thieves grab your paperwork along with the bike, resale becomes even easier. Number 7. Opportunistic ride-away thefts. Not all thefts involve complex tech or vans. Some are brutally simple. Thieves wait for the exact moment a rider lets their guard down. Gas stations are a prime hunting ground. Riders pull up, leave the bike idling, step inside to pay or grab a drink. And in those 30 seconds, the bike is gone. Opportunists literally jump on, click into gear, and vanish. Similar grab-and-go thefts happen outside convenience stores, at ATMs, or even when riders leave the helmet on the seat while running a quick errand. Police reports in both the US and UK show these opportunistic thefts are one of the fastest-growing categories because they require no tools, no planning, just patience and timing. It doesn't matter if you're on a 2,000-pound scooter or a $20,000 Harley. If it's running and unattended, it's fair game. Anti-theft. Never leave your bike running without you on it even for a second. At gas stations, shut the engine off, take the key, and lock the steering if possible. If you're in an unfamiliar area, fuel up at busy, well-lit stations with CCTV. A thief can't ride away if there's nothing to ride. It's one of the simplest but most crucial habits to develop, and many riders only learn after it's too late. Number 8. Bike jacking at stoplights. It's rare but rising in some urban areas. Thieves target riders stopped at traffic lights. 2 or 3 men on scooters pull up, shove the rider off, and one takes off on the bike. The Metropolitan Police in London have reported multiple incidents like this involving high-end sport bikes. In the US, certain cities see similar knockoff thefts when criminals spot riders alone in traffic. Anti-theft. Stay situationally aware in traffic. Leave a gap in front of you so you can maneuver if suspicious bikes pull alongside. Installing a handlebar lock or grip lock, even while riding in sketchier areas, can slow a thief's ability to instantly pull away. And avoid showing off expensive bikes in known hotspot neighborhoods after dark. Number 9. Fake breakdown helpers. This one feels like kindness until your bike disappears. Thieves pose as helpful strangers when you stop roadside with a flatter issue. While distracting you with fake repairs, they push start or roll away with your bike, sometimes even offering to test it after fixing. It's a low-tech con, but multiple cases have been documented in both rural UK roads and US highways. Anti-theft. Never leave your bike unattended with strangers, even if they claim to be mechanics. Call your own recovery service or a trusted friend. And if you do accept roadside help, keep the keys in your pocket and eyes on the bike at all times. Motorcycle theft isn't random. It's fast, targeted, and systematic. But with layered defenses and smart habits, you can make your bike the one thieves don't touch. Protect it like it's priceless because to you, it is. Every motorcycle brand explained in 12 minutes.
Harley Davidson. Harley is the godfather of American motorcycling. Born in 1903, survived wars, recessions, and yes, that time they made the topper scooter. We try to forget. Riding a Harley isn't about speed. It's about that chest-rattling rumble, leather jackets, and pretending you're an outlaw while heading to Costco. Their bikes like the Road Glide, Street Glide, and Fat Boy are rolling Americana, basically chrome monuments on 2 wheels. Critics love to say Harleys are slow, overpriced, and mostly bought during midlife crises. And honestly, they're not wrong, but here's the thing, no other bike makes you feel like you're part of a club the way Harley does. From Hell's Angels to Sunday Cruisers, Harley is about identity. Slow? Sure. Heavy? Absolutely. But when that V-twin shakes the ground, you don't care. You're not just riding a bike, you're riding the American dream. Ducati. Ducati is Italy in motorcycle form, beautiful, dramatic, and guaranteed to make you broke. Founded in 1926, making radios, now they build machines like the Panigale 54, Multistrada, and Monster. They're known for their desmodromic valves and handling so sharp it feels illegal. The sound of a Ducati is pure thunder. The look is pure art, but then there's the ownership experience, which is also pure chaos. They leak oil, they throw tantrums, and they'll happily drain your bank account with routine service. But once you ride one, you're hooked. It's not about practicality, it's about passion. Ducati is like dating someone way out of your league. You'll get headaches, drama, and unexpected bills, but when it's good, it's magic. They're the Ferraris of motorcycling, flashy, temperamental, and irresistible. You don't buy a Ducati with your brain. You buy it with your heart. BMW Motorrad. BMW is German engineering on two wheels. Their bikes look like tanks, ride like spaceships, and come loaded with more tech than your car. The GS series is the king of adventure. These things cross deserts, jungles, and probably Mars if they let them. Want pure speed. The S1000RR is a super bike with asymmetrical headlights and a soundtrack that scares small children. BMW riders love precision, electronic suspension, radar cruise control, riding modes that adjust faster than you can blink. Critics call them over-engineered and overpriced, but hey, that's German luxury. They're not cheap, but they're built like fine watches. Complex, precise, and occasionally temperamental if you miss a service. BMW is for riders who like order, who like tech, and who want to tell everyone their motorcycle costs as much as a small car. Love it or hate it, BMW delivers performance with military efficiency. Yamaha. Yamaha is the multi-tool of motorcycles. Before bikes, they made pianos, organs, and even harpoon cannons because why not? Then in 1955, they jumped on two wheels and never looked back. Yamaha builds everything. Scooters, dirt bikes, commuters, sport bikes, adventure machines, and MotoGP killers. The MT-07 is everyone's first love. The R1M is basically a missile with headlights. And the Tenere 700 is the off-road hero that refuses to die. If Honda is reliable and Ducati is passion, Yamaha is the balance between fun and practical. They've dominated racing for decades, picking up championships like they're going out of style. But the beauty of Yamaha is you don't need a trophy cabinet to appreciate them. Their bikes just work, and they work well. You want fast? They've got it. You want chill? They've got that too. They're like the friend who's good at literally everything, and it's kinda annoying. Honda. Honda is the genius of boring done right. Founded in 1948, they're the world's biggest bike manufacturer, and their entire personality is reliability. Hondas never die. Seriously. Drop it, abuse it, forget oil, changes it still fires up. They make everything. Superbikes, cruisers, scooters, adventure rigs, and the Grom, the little clown bike everyone secretly wants. Honda is the Toyota of motorcycles, safe, steady, and annoyingly good at everything. Sure, some people say Hondas lack soul, and maybe they're not dripping in drama like Ducati, but here's the trade-off. While your buddy is wrenching his Italian diva every weekend, your Honda is just running. Always. Legendary models like the Goldwing turned touring into luxury, and the CBR series showed the world Honda can be fast too. Honda isn't about thrills, it's about trust. And if you want to actually make it home every ride, Honda's your brand. Suzuki. Suzuki is the underdog of Japan's Big Four. They're not the flashiest, but when they hit, they hit. The GSXR series is iconic, giving us the Gixxer Cult and the Hayabusa. That thing broke the speed wars wide open. The Busa was so fast it forced governments to step in and cap top speeds. That's legacy. Suzuki also makes underrated adventure bikes like the V-Strom and budget-friendly commuters that just keep running. But let's be real, Suzuki's lineup feels smaller these days, and people sometimes forget about them. Still, when you see a Hayabusa screaming down the highway, you remember why Suzuki matters. They may not dominate every category, but Suzuki fans are fiercely loyal. They're like the middle child who doesn't get enough attention, but occasionally shocks the whole family with a record-breaking achievement. Don't sleep on Suzuki, they're still packing heat. KTM is orange insanity straight from Austria, famous for dirt bikes and enduro legends, but also the lunatics who gave us the 1290 Super Duke R, aka the Beast. Their slogan, ready to race. Their reality, ready to break down. KTM riders joke about reliability, but they don't care because when the bike is running, it's chaos in the best way. The Duke lineup, from the little 390 to the fire-breathing 1290, delivers hooligan energy like nothing else. KTM dominates off-road and MX, and in MotoGP, they've been punching way above their weight. But owning one is like adopting a hyperactive dog. Tons of fun, but you'll spend time and money keeping it under control. KTM is for thrill seekers who don't mind a few repair bills. If Ducati is the Italian diva, KTM is the crazy Austrian daredevil who dares you to twist the throttle harder. Kawasaki is what happens when you ask, how fast can we go before someone dies? Founded in 1960, their whole brand is chaos in green paint. The Ninja lineup is the iconic ZX6R, ZX10R, and then the crown jewel, the H2R, a supercharged superbike that literally sounds like a jet engine. Kawasaki doesn't care about subtle things. These bikes are aggressive, loud, and built for adrenaline junkies. They've also made ATVs, watercraft, even planes. But motorcycles are where they go full mad scientist. Kawasaki's are for riders who want to scare themselves daily, who think too much horsepower is a myth. Critics say they lack refinement compared to Honda or Yamaha, but that's the point. Kawasaki's are raw, aggressive, and unapologetically wild. If Yamaha is the multi-tool and Honda is the dependable dad, Kawasaki is the crazy cousin with a nitrous bottle and no fear of death. Triumph is British cool bottled into motorcycles. Founded in 1902, they've been through bankruptcies, rebirths, and even starred in James Bond movies. The Bonneville is pure retro class, the Street Triple is a naked rocket, and the Tiger Adventure bikes can take on any road. Triumph nails the blend of heritage and modern engineering. They look classic, but under the skin, they're fully up to date. Triumphs are stylish without trying too hard. They're basically the Rolex of bikes. Not the flashiest, but elegant, reliable, and timeless. Critics used to roast them for poor reliability back in the day, but modern Triumphs are solid. Riding one feels like sipping whiskey in a leather chair, smooth, confident, and just a little smug. If Harley is an American rebellion, Triumph is British refinement. Owning one is less about showing off and more about knowing you've got taste. Indian motorcycle. Indian is older than Harley, founded in 1901. They dominated early American motorcycling but went bankrupt, disappeared, and eventually came roaring back under Polaris ownership. Now they're Harley's biggest rival, with bikes like the Chief, Scout, and Challenger. The difference? Indians often have better handling, modern tech, and build quality that surprises people. They keep the heritage styling, big V-twins, classic cruiser looks, but with sharper edges. Indian is less about noise and more about substance. Riders say they feel smoother, more refined, but still pack the same road presence as Harley. They're not as globally famous as Harley, but many say they're actually the better bike. It's the eternal rivalry, Harley versus Indian. Pick one and you've chosen your religion. Indian is the soul of Americana revived, polished, and ready to prove Harley doesn't own the road alone. Aprilia is Italy's other superbike master, often overshadowed by Ducati, but arguably just as lethal. Their RS-V4 and Tuono V4 are track monsters, loaded with tech and handling so sharp it's almost unfair. Aprilia dominates in MotoGP and World Superbike, showing they've got the engineering chops. The problem? They don't have the same flashy marketing as Ducati, so casual riders overlook them, but insiders know Aprilia's pure performance. Their bikes are razor blades on wheels, designed for people who live for lean angles. Reliability can be hit or miss, and their dealer network is thin, but if you've got one nearby, you're golden. Aprilia is like that underrated band everyone cool swears by. If Ducati is Ferrari, Aprilia is Lamborghini, loud, aggressive, and always hungry for the spotlight. Ride one, and you'll feel like you hack the laws of physics. Moto Guzzi Moto Guzzi is Italy's quirky uncle. Founded in 1921, they're known for their weird transverse V-twin engines that stick out like wings. They're not fast, not high-tech, but they've got character for days. The V7, the California, the V85 TT are all cult classics. Moto Guzzi is about charm, not performance. These are the bikes hipsters drool over while sipping espresso in leather boots. Riding one is like owning a vintage watch. Not the most accurate, but endlessly cool. Critics say they're outdated, but fans say that's the point. They're different, soulful, and unmistakably Italian. Owning a Guzzi isn't about winning drag races. It's about enjoying the ride, the history, and the sideways stares you get at bike night. They're not mainstream, but if you know, you know. Guzzi isn't for everyone, but that's why people love them. Royal Enfield. Royal Enfield is the people's motorcycle. Born British, now Indian owned, they're famous for simplicity, affordability, and charm. Bikes like the classic 350, Interceptor 650, and Himalayan aren't flashy, but they get the job done. Enfields are the kind of bikes you can wrench on yourself, ride anywhere, and actually afford. Critics used to joke about quality issues, but modern Enfields have leveled up big time. They're not super bikes, they're not luxury tours, they're accessible, approachable machines that make motorcycling feel pure again. Royal Enfield is about that back-to-basics vibe. 2 wheels, an engine, and the open road. They may not blow your mind with performance, but they win hearts everywhere they go. It's motorcycling stripped down to what matters most. And with millions of riders worldwide, Enfield proves you don't need speed or tech to build a legend. So there you have it, 13 motorcycle brands. Out of all these brands, which one do you love the most? Drop it down in the comments, whether you ride it now or dream of owning it someday. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown.